Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's training session. I'm your host, Mike McMahon. We'll be getting started in just a minute. I want to give time for everyone else to get on. We had a lot of people register, and so we're just waiting a minute, just another minute, for those people to go ahead and log in and get set up. So at this point, you should be able to hear me. Hopefully you can, and if you have any challenges, obviously let us know. And so I will be back in about 60 seconds, and we will get started. Okay, once again, welcome to today's training on having your own business growth explosion, doubling your business in 12 months or less, even if you hate sales or marketing. And so basically what I want to do today is really just provide a lot of content and information. I want to show you how to have your own business growth explosion, whether you're stuck or you just don't know the first thing about sales or marketing. And again, my name is Mike McMahon. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself here in just a minute. I am so thrilled and excited to be sharing this information with you. It is life-changing and business-changing knowledge. And so I hope you've got a pen and a paper and something to take notes with, and that you just pay close attention, and that this is really going to help you take your business to the next level. So thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Just a quick disclaimer. The FTC is cracking down on people making bold claims. The reality is that I am going to share with you true events that happened with other businesses and explosive, amazing growth. But I have to tell you, the results aren't typical because I have no idea what you'll personally do with the information I give you. What I share did happen, but I obviously can't guarantee it'll work for you the same way. However, I'm going to share proven processes and strategies that do work in any business when applied correctly. So the key there is applied correctly. But to get the most out of our time together, you're going to benefit the most if you can get someplace where there's no distractions. Get into a quiet room. If you turn off your cell phone, and trust me, the world will not suddenly end. And if you're a note taker, and I encourage you to be a note taker, take notes. Lots of studies have proven that when you take notes, you actually have a higher retention. And I want you to expect to learn or discover something that'll make a difference in your business, your life, or both. These are proven strategies and processes that have tremendously grown other businesses. And so you are definitely in for something that will help you. And basically, I want to cover who this is for. It's important that we target the right people here, and so you're in the right place. This is for any small business owner, whether you're a solopreneur, solo practitioner, or you have employees, small business coaches, consultants, anyone that's stuck in their business and wants to know how to make it grow. Anybody in those things. And it's just as important to know who it's not for. And the reality is, this isn't for anybody to get rich quick schemes. These strategies that I'm going to share with you work very quickly. However, you do have to actually apply them. And most people looking for get rich quick stuff, they just think that there's some magic button you push and a genie pops out and gives them money. That's not business. And you know that, or you wouldn't even be on this call. But anyway, so you got to be willing to do some work. It's not hard work, but you have to be willing to do it. And if you're just stuck in your ways and you don't really want to change, well, this isn't going to be for you. If you're not looking for proven strategies to grow your business, just save yourself some time and go ahead and get off of the training. And here's the big one for me. Anyone that doesn't deliver valuable service or products. In other words, if you think that people are just ATM machines and they have your money and that's all you care about, do me a favor and just leave now, because what I will share works no matter what. And I don't want somebody that doesn't have the right values putting this to work. So anyway, that's enough of that. Why do you want to stay to the end? Because we're going to be together for the next 60, 75, 90 minutes, somewhere around that range. The fact is, I teach in complete systems. So what I show you, you want the whole picture. And also, you're going to miss valuable stuff if you leave early. And I do have a special resource at the end. If you do any advertising at all, I mean any, I don't care where it is. I don't care what kind of ad it is. If you do any advertising at all, I'm going to show you how to know before you spend a dime how to make that work and how to know it will work. And so that's a very, very valuable resource. So I'd like you to stay to the end to get that, and I will show you at the end how you can get that. And I teach, just to kind of give you an idea, I do the big picture and then I drill down. So I will oftentimes show you the thinking behind a strategy so that you're ready for it. And this is what I've learned. Simple shifts, small shifts in the way we think make all the difference in the world. And so I'm going to share with you some things that are simple shifts that are going to dramatically change how you view the way you do business, who you are, how marketing works, how sales works. And so those simple shifts are going to be part of what helps you dramatically increase your business. So my question to you is, how much do you want to make? When you started business, you probably had an idea in mind, or maybe right now you've got that idea in mind. How much is it? What do you want your business to make you? And I want you to actually write that down. Put down how much you want your business to make. And also, what's your business doing right now? What is it currently making? So go ahead and write that down. And then what's the difference between the two? Or in other words, what's the gap? When we conduct a gap analysis in a business, part of what we're looking for is, where do you want to be and where are you? The difference is the gap. It's not complicated. It's important to understand the gap. And then you sit down and you strategically figure out, all right, we want to close this gap. What are we going to do? And then we put tactics in place to do that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So how much do you want your business to make? What is it currently making? And what's that difference? What's the gap? That's what we want to overcome. Now, you've probably heard the statistic that 80% of the businesses fail. You probably heard that it was in 5 years. The truth is that over 90% fail in the 5 years. 80% of them, the businesses that fail, do it in their first 18 months. The biggest reason for that is that they run out of cash. Now, that's actually just a symptom. Most businesses fail for 4 reasons. One, they're not in touch with their customers at a deep level. They haven't built a relationship. They really don't know their ideal client. They haven't got that picture figured out, and then they're not developing deep personal relationships with their clients. So the clients have no loyalty. They leave. They don't come back. Number 2 is that their business looks just like every other business out there, offering what they offer. And what that means is that, well, the only way to compete is on price. And so when you compete on price, you die on price. And then the third reason is that they can't clearly or compellingly communicate their unique selling proposition, or their value proposition, some people call it. Worse than that, most of them don't even have one. They don't even know what it is. And so maybe, you might find yourself in that situation. Maybe you don't actually have a way to differentiate yourself from your competition. That leaves you competing on price. So when it's done right, people will do business with you regardless of price in almost every circumstance. And then the fourth biggest reason nowadays is that they have little or no online presence, or if they do have an online presence, it's a very bad presence. And I'm not talking about just social media. I'm talking about being found in search, having a website that meets the needs of the prospect, that's mobile friendly, those types of things. And so those are the 4 biggest reasons that businesses fail in their first 18 months. Now, if you've been in business for longer than that, congratulations, you're beating the odds. But if your business isn't growing the way you want it to, look at these 4 and ask yourself which one of these apply to you, or all of them. because any one or all of these will impact your ability to grow. So today, what I want to talk about is why you're stuck and you go through that feast or famine cycle in your business, or maybe you're just not hitting the revenue goals you desire. I want to go through how you can break that cycle once and for all and then hit the income level that you want. I want to help you shift the way you think about your marketing. It's going to make a profound difference. And I also want to give you a simple shift in how you think about what you do and who you are. Because when you think differently about who you are and what you do, you get different results. You think about different things. And I'm going to show you in this training how to have your own business growth explosion and double your business in 12 months or less. So a little bit about me, not that this is all about me, it's not, but I want you to understand where I come from and why I think the way I think and how, I would actually know what I'm talking about at all. I actually grew up in a small town, and our high school was a vocational technical high school. That's not me, it's just a picture. But I spent half of every day my junior and senior year going through auto mechanics, learning, how to tear down an engine and do a valve job and tune-ups and clutch jobs and, brake repair and transmission disassembly and, and I could work on cars. And I literally graduated high school ready to take my test and be certified as a mechanic. But I had made the decision my senior year that really towards the end of my senior year that wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. So at any rate, of course, being a motorhead, I had a fast car and, what do you do with fast cars? You race them. And I blew up the engine. I had to replace that twice. I actually ruined shelled the rear end and had to replace that. And I had to repair the transmission once. And, not to mention how many times I had to go through brakes or other things. And that's just a picture of a 77 Z28. It's one of the cars I had. So anyway, decided not to be a mechanic, but I had learned in that process not only just how to work on cars and maintain them, but how to troubleshoot them and figure out what was broken. We used diagnostic equipment, and I loved all that stuff. It was a lot of fun, but I didn't want to be greasy all my life. I actually came out of high school as a licensed life insurance agent and was selling life insurance and doing fine, but the GA I was working for had me working with college students. And, if you remember back when you were a college student, or if you're just recently out of college, the last thing you're thinking about when you're in college is mortality. So it was tough. It wasn't easy. And I got fed up. I wanted to make more money in less time, but I also knew I wanted to get more education. So I joined the Navy. And that's actually a picture of the last ship I was on. That's the USS Jewett, Guided Missile Cruiser number 29. And when I joined the Navy, I went into electronics, and I was a fire control technician. Not, some people think fire control technicians, you work on fires, you put out fires. I didn't put out fires. I created fires. I actually worked on the weapons control systems. I was originally taught on the 55 Bravo Mod 9, and I'll zoom in so you can kind of see, so I can talk about this a little bit. The 55 Bravo Mod 9, that's these. They work to specifically control the missile. And, but the other system I was trained on was a 48 Echo air search radar. That's this. Now, normally it's rotating. It's going around and around, big square radar. So both of these systems are actually complex systems. And we were not only taught how to operate them, but how to troubleshoot and repair down to the component level. When I was in this school, we went component level for 55. Later on, the Navy and their genius and wisdom stopped training technicians to the component level. But I had a lot of training. I understood how to troubleshoot, and I also understood how systems work, and that's really why all this is relevant. I began thinking differently in the sense of, how does systems function? So with the 48 Echo, not bragging about me, but we actually, my work center, myself and my team, we actually received a Navy Achievement Medal for having the highest uptime in the entire fleet with our 48 Echo on the West Coast, anyway, of all the ships on the West Coast. Plus, we did some depot level repairs. That's a function of exercising systems and recognizing ways to improve things, which our team did. Now, the whole point behind an air search radar and fire control radar is so that you can fire this missile. That's the goal. We want to shoot that missile So this is one picture from a missile launch. Got to do quite a few of them while I was in the Navy. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, that's the goal. We wanted to shoot those. And so anyway, when I got out of the Navy, I actually went and began sales. And, truthfully, I'd like to tell you that I was a superstar from day one. And I have here, I've sold everything from businesses to Kirby vacuums. But when I got out of the Navy, I actually was looking for a specific job as electronics tech, but in the area, they just didn't pay well. So I went into sales and I sold Kirby vacuums. I sold one Kirby vacuum in a 90-day period. It took me 90 days. I made a single sale. Now it was full price, no discount, but I was horrible at it. And so the distributor took me aside and he said, look, there's anything to keep you from selling a lot of these. You just don't know what you're doing. And, I said, okay, so teach me. And he and I went out together. And in the next 30 days, we were together at least 3 days out of the week. And I sold 8 of them, which obviously pretty significant improvement, 1 to 8. Well, then I went on to be one of his top, actually the top guy, and sold as many as 5 in a single day, 20 in a single month. My problem is that I was making enough money that, once I had 2 sales for the day, I'd just take the rest of the day off. I didn't really understand some of the things I know now, but it paid really well. But I learned a ton about selling just from that position. But then I went on to have a lot of other sales jobs because I love sales, and businesses were one of the things I sold. And it was a very interesting time for me to learn a lot about businesses. I have personally closed over 12,000 sales, everything from big ticket, little ticket. The biggest thing I sold was over $1 million. The smallest thing I sold was $50. So that's part of that 12,000 sales. I've trained, well over 1,200 salespeople. My teams and myself have been responsible for over 145 million in goods and services being sold. I've gained a reputation over the last 10 years as a business growth expert. I've turned every one of these businesses around, either the whole business or a division in that business, or greatly multiplied their growth. And I'll share a little bit about that with you in some of the case studies. And as a business broker, I analyzed over 700 small businesses. Now, the reason that matters is because I got to notice which businesses not only were saleable, but were saleable for a multiple of what they were generating, and the common elements in those. And the businesses that weren't selling, what was wrong with those? And just because you have a business doesn't mean it's a saleable asset. If there's no barrier to entry, if you don't have a client list that, that you can say, well, look, these 1,500 people do business with me, and, 500 of them are really good. They do, they come back 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year or every month or whatever it is. And these guys over here buy occasionally. This is the average order. If you don't have all of that information, your business value is somewhat limited, And so anyway, there was a lot that I learned from that. And, and I wanted to continue to grow. I love to learn. I'm a voracious reader. And so I wanted to move on into management and, stop being a salesperson and just start growing businesses. So the first one I went to was actually WordSmart. It's an educational software company. You may have seen Alex Trebek's, infomercials on promoting this product. It's vocabulary building software. Great product. When I went there, they were $85,000. They were doing $85,000 a month, but they were $2 million in debt. They were losing money hand over fist. The owner was a deep pocket multimillionaire, and he was covering payroll every single week. And, they were just in trouble. So what we did, I made changes immediately as far as, what the deal was with the salespeople. I put a quota in place, just basically, and held training. We actually doubled sales in the very first month. We didn't turn around. I hired some more salespeople. We doubled them again in the second month. And then 90 days later, we turned around and we did some automation. There were other things that we changed, and we actually tripled sales from the double, not from the very beginning. We doubled them again, and then we tripled them in a single month. Now, a lot of that had to do with automation. It had to do with the hiring process I put in place for salespeople. But in the end, we were doing $1.6 million a month with a healthy profit margin. The company was debt-free when I left them, and they owned their own building worth over about $2.5 million, $2.3 million. And don't get me wrong, this didn't happen all in 1 year. I was actually with this company for 5 years, made a lot of mistakes, crashed and burned a few times. There were different things that we tried that just flat out didn't work, but most of what we did work. And, so it was a great learning experience and just obviously a success story for the company. Later on, I actually was recruited by John Assaraf. He was the co-founder of One Coach, which is a coaching and consulting company. They were a startup, no sales process. And so what I did, obviously, is I built out the sales process so that we could sell the coaching and consulting. I hired and trained a sales team, and my team enrolled over 1,600 clients worth more than $7 million in revenue in the first 6 months alone. And we went on to have, it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of growth. We were helping a lot of people. And, and I got to talk to lots and lots of small business owners, not only around the United States, but the whole world, and uncover their challenges and their needs and the problems they face. So that was a great learning experience. And I applied that information when I went to Abacus. Abacus Law is still around. When I went there, they were a 25-year-old company in the technology sector. They make software for law firms. And they were doing, the year before I came, they did 4.7 million in revenue. Now in 25 years, it had taken them 25 years to get to 4.7 million. So I made some immediate changes. First was the challenge of new sales. They weren't bringing in enough, and most of the sales team could make a very nice living just working with existing customers. Because look, we all know it's easier to sell to existing people than it is to go out and get a brand new sale. But that's a problem. Your ability to grow has everything to do with how many clients you can bring in. And so, I made some quick changes there and grew the company to 14.7 million and increased new client acquisitions by 412%. So just in new clients alone, it was $4,301,280 in that, per year. And I also made some changes with the existing clients, which had an immediate boost. Anyway, it did take a couple of years, but we went from 4.7 million to 14.7 million, and they're growing wildly now. They've got a whole new team in place, and they've taken that platform and they're exploding it. So, these are things that any business can do. It's just proven processes you need to implement. So part of what I want you to think about is if somebody asks you, what do you do? What's your answer? The way you see yourself certainly determines what you do in your business. And so what do you tell people when they ask, what do you do? Now, I can tell you with certainty, if your answer is, I'm a plumber, or I repair cars, or I'm a contractor, then you're missing out. And what I mean by that is you want to shift that. You're the CEO. CEOs think differently than people that do the work. So you want to, I'm the CEO of one of the area's largest construction companies, and or whatever the answer is, I'm the founder of Bob's, carpet cleaning service, and we take care of residential and commercial, carpets, and we've been around, blah blah blah. However you want to do it, but when you introduce yourself as the chief executive officer or the founder or the president, not only do you feel different, but you're received differently. And I want you to start thinking about how you are in your business as the CEO, the founder, the president. Because when you position yourself that way, you're just that shift. It's a simple shift. Humor me if you have to, but it might sound like it won't matter, but it does. It makes a big difference. So make that shift and introduce yourself as the CEO, the founder, or the president of whatever you do. And later on, we'd work on, in the programs I teach, and I'm going to share with you a lot of stuff. I can't share everything because obviously there's too much to share. But in the workshops I do, in the training and coaching I do, I take people deep. We nail out a unique selling proposition, which then grows into an elevator pitch, and that would be where this would come in handy. So remember I said I was going to talk to you about the feast or famine cycle, why you have it, and what you can do about it. Well, this is a pretty typical org chart. You got different levels, the managers, the VPs, the COO or the CFO or HR, or ultimately the owner. And when I talk to small business owners, I find out that their business, granted, your business may or may not have this many levels, but it's the concept. I talk to a lot of small business owners, and this isn't what their org chart looks like. It actually looks more like this, because as a small business owner or an entrepreneur, you probably wear every single hat in your business. You're probably the one that does it all. The challenge with that, excuse me, hold on while I take a drink. So the challenge with that is that when you're the one that does everything, you end up being a lot like the plate spinner. And, you're the one running around. I don't know if you've ever seen a plate spinner, but, they put a plate on a pole, they get it spinning, and then they put another plate on and they get it spinning, and they put another one on. And the goal is to get them all up and then take them all down without dropping any to the ground. Well, it's not a big deal when you got one or two things going on. But as that increases, as you start getting multiple plates going, you got multiple jobs going, it's this, it gets harder, it gets more complicated, and something usually falls through the cracks or falls and breaks. And so that adds to the whole feast or famine thing. So what I'm showing here is kind of a typical pipeline. It could, sales pipeline, and it applies to any kind of business, whether it's retail or B2B or whatever. The bottom line is that you have different stages of your sales process, and it starts with leads that you create. And so when you're the plate spinner or your org chart is all you, the problem is that you go out, you generate some leads, but then you have to actually do the work. And so you get busy, you get a few clients, you start doing the work, and you stop prospecting because you're busy doing the work. And well, the other reason you stop prospecting is who really likes to prospect? Not most people hate it. And I can fix that too. But so basically what happens is you get busy working on delivering the services, and then all of a sudden the leads stop coming in because you don't really have time to prospect because you're busy servicing what you sold. So then you get that all serviced, and all of a sudden things kind of start to get slow, and you realize, oh, I got to get out there and I need to start going and prospecting. And so you start creating more leads, and then you've got more opportunities to work, and you've got some sales to close, and all of a sudden you have clients, and now you got to deliver services. And so you're busy delivering services, and what happens is you stop prospecting. And so the leads kind of dry up, and, there are not so many coming in, and, but you got these big deals you're working on and you're getting them done, and that's okay. But then, all of a sudden it tapers off, and now you got to figure out, okay, well, all right, I got to go out and I got to network, or I got to do whatever it is I do to bring leads in. And so you start working on more leads. And so this becomes this never ending cycle, up and down, up and down, up and down. And what ultimately has to happen to change this is a process in place to automatically and continuously bring in high quality prospects that have a high likelihood of becoming clients. And I'll share with you some ideas on how you can do that. So, can you see how this, does that describe, do you feel that? I mean, does that work? Do you see how that works in your particular situation? Most small business owners I talk to where the owner is responsible for also getting jobs, it's the same thing. And by the way, if you have salespeople working for you and they have this cycle, this big month, bad month, big month, bad month, you need to take a look at their prospecting because I will tell you that that's what they're doing. They get a few sales in the system, and then they work those sales to close, and then they got to go back out and they start prospecting. If you get them to where they are always prospecting every single day, even if it's just for a short period of time, you'll smooth that whole process out. They'll make more money, and so will you. So this is one I want to tell you. Don't beat yourself up. I'm sharing a lot of things, and it might sound like I'm telling you you're doing everything wrong. I apologize if that's how it comes across, but it's not your fault. Like if you're struggling or you're frustrated in your business, it is not a lack of willpower. It's not some, it's not because you're gullible and chasing one thing after another. That's not it. It's not a moral failure on your part. Ask yourself this question. Who taught you how to run and grow your business? In most cases, the answer is no one. Who taught you so you have an endless supply of qualified clients? Again, it's usually the same answer. So these are just skills that anybody can learn. And, if you have the systems in place, congratulations, good for you. Most businesses I work with don't. So, and I'm going to share with you things you can do to change that. But what I do want to stress and impress upon you is that you want to think differently. Albert Einstein, arguably the smartest man ever lived. We can't solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So it does take a shift in how you think. That's why I talked about thinking of yourself as a CEO or a president or a founder. One little shift. We're going to start shifting the way we think so we can get different results. And to start with that is I want to ask you to think about strategy versus tactics. Now, they're military terms, but they're applied in business. And strategy is really the big overall picture. What's the goal? It's the what part of the equation. What are we trying to accomplish? And tactics, they're the specific plans that carry out what you need to do to reach the goal. It's the how are we going to do things, or who is going to do this. So there's a big, big difference, because strategy and tactics in marketing, strategy focuses on what you say, how you say it, who you say it to. In other words, it's the content of your marketing message. The tactics is just the execution of that strategy, whether you're getting leads, you're using a brochure, pay-per-click, promoted post, whatever. So those are tactics. And here's why it matters. Because you can get 3% of the market, or you can get 70% of the market. Now, at any given time, 3% of the market's out there looking, and they're ready to buy right now. 70%, however, are open to doing something if you take the time to educate them on their need and why you are the best solution. Let me kind of give you an example. If you're a doctor, the fact is that until somebody really understands the value of an annual physical, they're only going to go to the doctor when they're sick. However, if you educate them on the value of the annual physical, you've got them at least coming in once a year. And in the long run, they're going to be healthier because you can find things earlier. Earlier detection is a big thing. I'll give you another example, and don't shoot the messenger, but this is a very good business example. Did you know that 72% of the couples that go to couples therapy end in divorce anyway? It's been said that the only reason they're going to therapy is so that they can try to part as friends. But think about that. There's a huge number. 72% that go to couples therapy end in divorce anyway. So if you're a divorce attorney, you should be targeting people going to couples therapy. Catch them early in the equation before where you get a chance to educate them and build a relationship with them. Now, 27%, they're really not going to do anything soon, or they may never do anything. And so you want to be strategic about who you're focusing on. And when you see, people that are running the ads, they're offering free consultations or estimates, that's getting the 3%. It takes a different strategy and tactic to get the 70%. So the tactic and strategies is the marketing formula. Now, you may have been told, you may have heard some people, say, well, wait, I heard the marketing formula was AIDA, not IEEO. AIDA stands for the attention, interest, desire, and action. And the problem with that formula is it's really geared just towards making a sale on a single ad. And that's not the way it works. Human nature, being what it is, demands that buyers always want to make the best decision possible. And so marketing and advertising needs to capture the attention of the target market and then help them in their decision-making process while lowering the risk of taking the next step in the sales process. So the marketing formula that works always, IEEO, is I for interrupt. That's your headline. You want to get the qualified prospects to pay attention to your marketing, and you do that by hitting their hot buttons. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. Engage. That's the promise. So we've got the headline, which is interrupt. Engage is the subhead. That's the promise that information is forthcoming that's going to help them in their decision-making process, because that fits human nature. That's what they want to do. The educate is the information. So it's going to identify important and relevant information that the prospects need to be aware of. And it's going to show them how you stack up against the issues and build a case for your business. And I'll give you some examples in a minute. And then, of course, there's the offer. When you do it right, you give the prospects a low-risk way to move forward. Now, for you to put this into application, remember I said I like to give you the big picture. I'm going to show you a little bit about how your prospect's brain works, and it's how your brain works too. Most of the time, we actually run around in what they call alpha mode. Alpha mode's autopilot. You know, your brain's busy doing things that you don't even have to consciously be aware of. A good example is you ever got into your shop, your place of business or work, only to realize when you started thinking about it, I don't even remember driving here. Well, that's because you were running on autopilot. The problem with autopilot, and the reason that's important to understand, is that with marketing, we've got to get somebody out of autopilot into what's called beta. So beta mode is when you're actively engaged. So if you're driving in a really bad storm, you know, this last winter, I had to go to the airport in St. Louis. It's a 4-hour drive, 3.5 hours from where I'm at. And it was snow the whole way. Not a little bit, a lot. And, you know, so yeah, believe me, I was in beta mode. Hands on the 10 and 2, paying attention to everything around me, driving a little slower than normal. You know, I was hyper vigilant. That's beta mode. And so when you can pop somebody out of alpha mode with a good interrupt and hot buttons, bring them into beta mode, that's when the sub headline or the engage continues them. Okay, so we popped them out, we've engaged them. Now we're going to educate them. I've got their attention. Otherwise, they don't see me. And a lot of traditional advertising, salespeople or whatever, they're going to tell you you need to run your ad repeatedly to have top of mind awareness. Well, the reason they're telling you that you need to run it over and over and over is because they're helping you build a bad ad. And I'll show you what we're talking about here in just a minute. But here's the best way I can describe alpha mode. And part of what else works with all of this, which is your reticular activating system. Now, your brain, our brains are amazing. We process billions of stimuli every single minute. And, you know, I mean, your reticular activating system, it's all designed to filter out the things that are not important, because you go nuts. You know, if you knew like the air currents flowing over your hair follicles, you know, on your arm, or, you know, the temperature on all the, you have like 200,000 pain sensors in your body. If you could just feel everything all at once, you just go crazy. So the brain filters out everything it doesn't think is important. And, you know, think about this. The picture here is a red Honda Element, but the last time you bought a car, and everybody's experienced this, did you ever notice how right after you buy the car, all of a sudden, you just keep seeing that a similar car, same color, everything, all of a sudden you notice them. You didn't think anybody drove what you're driving, and now everybody is. That's a perfect example of the reticular activator system. It was blocking it out before, but now in the process of buying a car, it was important. And so because it was important, your brain doesn't filter it. As a matter of fact, it specifically calls attention to it. And that's how we want to capture our clients and prospects with our advertising. We want to know their hot buttons, so that when we advertise correctly, they don't have a choice. They have to read it, because we're getting through the way their brain works. So some very typical hot buttons that you could look for, you know, that your clients are looking for. These are things prospects are looking for. They want it fixed right, fast. They want you to be on time, provide quick resolution, be honest, expected results, opinion or options and variety, selection. It's funny, I talk about selection. You know, in many businesses, selection is part of the deal. So if you're a car dealer and you show 4 cars, and in reality you've got 80 of them on your car lot, well, 4 cars is not a good representation of what I've got. However, if I ran the ad differently, let's say I had a picture of a car, but then I list, you know, let's a particular sedan, but then I list the 15 sedans that I have, not necessarily pictures, you know, it's one picture is fine, but I've got a listing of the 15 that I have, and I do a van, and I do a truck, and I do, you know, an SUV, and I do the same thing with all those. Now people can see a representation of what I have, but also selection. So that's just one way to do it. You know, quality and results. They want the whatever you state for quality. Obviously, the results need to match that. educating about the product or service, other products and services after the sale. No hassles. These are all hot buttons. If you work with B2B, they want to know how they can make more money or get higher margins. Ease of change. I want to take away the hassle. I want low risk. I want evidence that you can do what you're saying you're going to do. Price matters, and of course, obviously validation. So these are all, this is not the most exhaustive list, but it's a big list of hot buttons that you'll see. Now, let me back up just to writing them down. But at any rate, when we take the time to really understand our clients and we incorporate these hot buttons into how we advertise, then you're going to find that you get tremendous results. You get that 70%. So, so now let's look at an ad, a typical, very, very typical ad. This is a car repair ad. Pretty typical, I blocked out the contact information just because, protect the innocent, I guess. But here's the thing about this ad. Where are the hot buttons? And quite frankly, I would expect ASE certified technicians in this day and age. If I'm looking right here, I expect this. And this doesn't, this is good. That's good. It does lower the risk. That's actually not bad. 100% customer satisfaction, prove it. Okay. How can you prove that to me? No surprises. All right. Well, the reality is any work done right, I should certainly hope so. These are really what we call platitudes. And what I mean by a platitude, these are all things. We fix everything. Well, of course, that's what I expect a mechanic to do. There's nothing here that makes me think they're that different than anybody else, So they're not differentiating themselves in the marketplace. They're not hitting my hot buttons, and there's not an easy way for me to move forward to speak of. Okay. So they're not facilitating my decision-making process. The other thing is if I turned around and I crossed out this name of the business, you could put any name here. It doesn't matter because this is what we call the cross out and replace test. The fact is that if you cover up the last ad you did, you take your name, just cover it up. How many other similar businesses in your area could run the exact same ad? Chances are pretty good in all of them. Even if they don't deliver what they say here, they can still say it. And so this ad is just a standard, so what, blah, blah, blah ad. There's nothing here to capture my attention. Look, I don't want to just pick on car places. So, here's a typical ad for a roofing contractor. We've blocked out their name and stuff, but who else can say these things? Residential, commercial, industrial, anybody can say that. But it's not just that. All this other stuff, shake to shingle conversions. They're a roofing company. I would expect them to be able to do that. All types of shingles, no kidding. New and re-roofing plus repairs. Wow, that's helpful. Gutters and downspouts. I mean, seriously? Obviously you expect a roofing company to do this. So you're not helping me make a decision. There's nothing to differentiate. And how about this guy or this picture? Do these pictures help you make a better decision? And here's the reality. Company names, that's not a headline. That's just a waste of space. And also, just like on all the others, if I cross out this company name, can I put any company there? So is there anything in this ad that actually educates you so you can make a better decision about a roof? No. Here we go with the dentist. Poor headline. There's no interrupt, no hot buttons. I mean, seriously, your local state-of-the-art dentist is right down the street. So remember, I'm in alpha mode. I'm in autopilot. I'm looking through wherever this ad is, or I'm driving down the road and this is the billboard or whatever, it's the back of a magazine. It doesn't matter. I'm in alpha mode. I'm really running around in autopilot. But if I'm reading a paper, looking at a magazine, surfing the web, I'm looking for something else. And so this doesn't interrupt me. It doesn't stop me, and really, does a smiling lady, a lady with perfect teeth, is that going to actually do anything for you? Does it help you learn what you need to know about going to the dentist? Or does knowing they're conveniently located behind Walgreens or the fact that they have an introductory offer, which is only good right here. This is new patients under 12, blah, blah, blah. I mean, does that lower your risk of taking the next step? I mean, I don't think so. And then we have all of this. It's all platitudes. Any other dentist can say it. It sounds important, but if you really analyze it, it's not. And just so you know, I'm not I'll pick on lawyers too. Part of advertising is building a case for why you're the best choice. And lawyers practice building cases all the time. You'd think they'd actually be good at advertising. And some are, but most aren't. So when it comes to law, close is not good enough. Well, first off, what does a golf ball have anything to do? And I know it's close to the hole. So what? That's just cute. It's not an interrupt that matters. If I'm an avid golf fan, I'm going to look at it. That's going to snap me out of alpha into beta. But if I don't need a lawyer, I'm going to go right back to what I was doing. I'm never even going to make it into reading anything about what they have to say there. On the other hand, if we ran this differently and we followed the formula, interrupt, engage, educate, notice how this is different. 3 critical characteristics to demand from your attorney. Does yours stack up? 1, expertise. Now, the key here is not just experience, but experience in cases like yours. There's over 60 different broad disciplines, each of which have over 100 subcategories. We'll always find out the details of your case and assign the right attorney with the right experience for your case. If our firm doesn't have the experience, we won't take the case, period. We're educating and we're differentiating all at once. Number 2, caseload. Too many irons in the fire. It's a big problem with many firms and their attorneys. Nationally, the number of cases assigned per attorney could be as many as 40 or 50. That leads to slow response time and inattention to detail. Make sure your attorney has no more than 10 files at any given time. More differentiation, more education. 3, fees and policies. Your attorney should help you solve your problems, not be the source of them. Unfortunately, some firms conceal certain charges until after it's too late to undo the damage. Request our free report for more info, more education, more differentiation. Easy way to move forward. I'm going to move forward with a free report. Call to action right down here. I have I said it in number 3 right here, request, but here I've got my call to action. Find out how we stack up. Call for our free report. How to choose the right lawyer for your case. Now, if you need an attorney, or you think you need an attorney, don't you think you'd like to know how to choose the right attorney for your case? You bet you would. So this ad works. This is the ad that gets the 70%, not the 3%. So can you see the difference? Here's another good example for a bank. Banks historically have horrible brochures, but this is one really, really well done. So mutual fund investment strategies, which ones actually work and which ones are guaranteed to drain your savings, jeopardize your retirement, and squash your quest for financial independence. Don't you just want to read this and find out? And notice how in this particular one, they follow it right. It's done correctly. We actually put the name down here because nobody cares who the bank is or where this is from until they've checked this stuff out and they like what they see. Hot button, hot button, hot button. So, does this work online? I did a quick search for St. Louis roofer. And you can see I got a lot of results. It's 198,000 of them out there. But what shows up initially is your map and the paid ads up here at the top 3. These are paid ads. And then, you start getting the organic results. These are paid ads over here. So let me zoom in so it's a little easier to see. So here's the thing. Now roofers, I search St. Louis roofers, so this is going to match. That's not a bad strategy. All right. But local roofer, so what? 30 years of experience doesn't mean anything anymore. Okay. Call today for a free inspection. This guy's getting the 3%. Now, because he's up at the top, because he's got the #1 ad and he's paying the most for that, he's going to get clicks. And if he has a good website, he can convert them. But if he did a better job, and all these are the same, by the way, nobody's using hot buttons. There's, this is AAA rated, blah, blah, blah. A name you know and trust, really. A name you know and trust. Well, first off, what if I never heard of them before? And if I cross them out, a name you know and trust, anybody can say that. So that's a platitude. It's not going to get you any business. So what you need to always follow the formula, whether you're doing it online or not. So what we just saw was pretty typical, hey, top St. Louis roofer, whatever. Call 24/7, licensed and insured, free estimates. That's typically what you see, is kind of what we were just looking at. Here's where you'd follow the formula. Free report. Learn the top 5 things you must know before hiring a roofing contractor. Call now to get our free report emailed to you instantly. Hot buttons, low risk. 70%, not the 3. So the market's changing. Nowadays, 93% of 93% of the people search online before they buy. 80% of internet users own a smartphone, and 40% own a tablet, 47%. 82% of local search results actually end up in an offline action, so they end up becoming a purchase, or they hire whoever it was they were looking for. Local search is huge. And this number is actually a year and a half old. It was the newest statistic I could get. I know it's higher. I actually know it's higher, but whatever, 82% is kind of amazing. And so those local search results you want to be there. And if you're not there and your competition is, well, they're getting business you're simply not getting. In this day and age, half of the small businesses still don't have a website. In recent Google updates, they penalize sites that aren't mobile friendly. Now, I'm not going to, there's a lot of marketers out there that were trying to tell business owners excuse me, local business owners, that if they didn't have a mobile friendly site, Google wasn't going to show them at all. That is flat out not true. Now, that day is coming. It's just not here yet. I can tell you that if it's a local search, whether you're mobile friendly or not, if you're relevant to what the client's looking for, Google still serves that. But they have put everybody on notice that for national brands, they won't. They are getting penalized, but at the local level, that's phase 2, and they haven't hit phase 2 yet, but it's coming. So your website needs to be mobile friendly. And what does that mean? It means that when I search, I can read it on my smartphone. The buttons are big enough that I can actually push them, so it's mobile friendly. And whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, or whatever, anything, those are all devices, mobile devices. Online search, it now gets more of the audience than any other channel. It's just under 40%. And everybody these days is talking to you about social media, and social media is important. You need to be there. It's a great way to build your brand and communicate with your prospects and clients. But the truth is, social media is still only about 4% of the market as far as channels go. So online search is where it's at still. And nowadays, there are more smartphones than PCs. As a matter of fact, there's over 500 million smartphones out there compared to about 1.5 million PCs, desktop PCs. Smartphones outsell PCs by more than 3 to 1. And, so if you haven't made the shift in your business to handle being mobile friendly, then you really want to take a look at that. And look, let's face it, times are changing. Used to be, as little as 5 years ago, you could have an ad in the yellow pages and it made you money, even if it was a bad ad. And back then, the bigger the ad, the more ad results you got. Well, that's true. If you had a really good ad, you got really good results. Newspapers, they're declining rapidly. I mean, who's going to go buy a newspaper to read what happened yesterday when they got it on their smartphone or their desktop 5 minutes after it happened? TV's advertising is the same way. I can record things using DVRs or TiVos or Netflix or Hulu or whatever. I don't have to watch commercials anymore. And then with telemarketing, the do not call list really changed that whole industry. Now, telemarketing, if you do it right, still works, but you need to know what you're doing. And then, of course, there's direct mail. It's very expensive, but if you do it right, it can work as well. And the interesting thing is the open rates on direct mail are higher now than they were. And largely because there's, a lot of catalog companies went out of business and businesses have all rushed online. So they're not spending money on direct mail anymore. Well, that creates opportunity for people that see it and know how to use it. Print ads, same thing. If you do it wrong, you might as well just light your money and burn it. But if you know what you're doing, print ads work and work well. And email, you hear a lot of people telling you not to even waste your time with email. Email's dead. It doesn't work. It's a spam thing. The truth is, email is incredibly successful. I'll give you an example. Groupon or Social Living or any of those types of coupon sites, their business is email. The reason Groupon can actually drive so much traffic to a business and charge what they charge is because they've built this gigantic email list. So don't think email doesn't work. It's just you need to know how to do it and how to capture those leads, what a good lead magnet is so that you can attract them, give somebody a reason to sign up to your list, and then you move forward with them. When people leave their house, they always have their keys, their wallet, and their phone. Nobody goes home without them these days. Nobody leaves home without them. So, like American Express said, don't leave home without it. Well, people don't leave home without their phones, their wallet, or their keys. And now you've got apps on phones, so you can even do mobile payment with your phone. So the world's changed. Absolutely changed. But this is why it's important. If you are mobile friendly, you're going to capture business that you might not be currently getting. So I have this slide here to kind of illustrate the point. Now, this is just a hole in the ground, but for those in construction or architects or whatever, they'd recognize that this is, based on this hole, is the footing for a foundation of a very large building. It's going to be a skyscraper. And if you really know what you're doing, you can actually look at how big the hole is and kind of guesstimate with some level of accuracy how big that building's going to be. And your business is like that. The better you build your foundation, the higher, the faster, the stronger you can grow your business. But you do have to have certain elements in place. And so your foundation's critical. And that brings me to talking about how you bring revenue into your business. So most businesses bring revenue in under one or two channels. And that's fine. It's great when it works. But if those channels ever suffer, the one or two that you're using, if they stop working as well, then your business stream diminishes and you lose market share. And then you're in trouble. So what I would suggest is that you make a change. So instead of one or two, you actually take a formal process to figuring out your marketing profit centers. Because each one of these legs, these are all revenue generators. Each one of them is a profit center. And if we build this out correctly, we eliminate the feast and famine cycle. It just goes away for good. So here's what we want to look at. If you begin to add, instead of just relying on direct sales or advertising, you make sure you have a formal process for networking, and you incorporate direct mail. You learn how to do it. You find out the difference between dimensional mail and lumpy mail and postcards. And, in the lumpy mail, just to give you an example, if I was going to mail something out, let's say I serviced, let's say the product I was selling was to people that owned private jets. Okay, obviously, I would assume I'm going to go with an upper end offer, and I'm just making this up off the top of my head, but you'll get the idea. So what I could do is I could go down to the local party store and look at party favorites and find little toy airplanes. I mean, itty bitty little plastic ones, the things that are a quarter. And I make up this beautiful letter in a flat envelope, but then I stuff that little airplane in there. Now it's a lump. And the curiosity being what it is, it will get your letter opened if it wouldn't have been opened before, because they want to know what on earth is in there. And then you tie your marketing piece into that little airplane. You mentioned that somehow it's tied together. That's lumpy mail. Dimensional mail, those are like 3D cutouts, things like that. But there's just different ways to make direct mail work and work really well. Develop an upsell. Right now, whatever you're currently selling, what could you add to it to make it a bigger sale? I'll give you an example. Carpet cleaning company. They get hired to clean 3 rooms of carpet. So either at the point of sale when they're there, or in this making the sale, whether it's over the phone or they went out and did an estimate or whatever it was, talk about, hey, while we're here, we also clean furniture and drapes. And so, normally it would be this, but because we can bundle it together, we would do it for this. That's an upsell. Very, very easy way. And the fact is, if you offer an upsell every single time, statistically across almost every industry, 40% of the people will take the upsell. Back end offers. What can you offer after the sale? Support, maintenance, a community program. There's just different things you could do to develop a back end offer. There's a ton of money to be made in back end offers. formalize your referral system. Really figure out a way to incentivize it. Get it to where people just always are thinking about referring you to somebody else for many, many different reasons. And a lot of this feeds back into developing that deep personal relationship with your clients, and joint ventures. So a joint venture, somebody that's complementary to what you do, not a direct competitor. Who could you partner up with to where you could market what you do to their clients and they could market what they do to yours? It's a joint venture. Win-win for everybody. Very inexpensive to implement. And, some companies have literally doubled their annual revenues in a single month just from joint ventures alone. So here's the thing. What would happen to your revenue levels and your profits if you can combine a wide array of marketing approaches? And by the way, this isn't an exhaustive list of ways to bring business in, but they are the most common. So even if you didn't do all of them, if you just did half of them, or you decided, you know what, I'm going to be very systematic about what I currently have. And for the next 6 months, I'm going to work on developing 2 more of these legs, and then 6 months, 2 more. So each one of these you work until you perfect it, and then you go to the next one and you get it in a system. So what would happen to your revenue? So here's the bottom line. If you've only got 1 or 2 ways to bring in clients, you're at the mercy of the market. And the old saying is, it's like putting all of your eggs in one basket. We know that doesn't make sense. It's not good from a business point of view. So here's what I want you to understand. No matter what business you have, no matter what industry you're in, there are only 3 ways to grow a business. That's any business. Doesn't matter what the business is, there's only 3 ways. 1, you go out and you get more clients. You get more revenue per sale, so you have a higher average order transaction. And 3 is you get more repeat orders. Those are it. Doesn't matter the business. You can make an argument that there's a 4th way, that, mergers and acquisitions, but let's put that aside. For small businesses and entrepreneurs, most of the time, the only 3 ways that matter are getting more clients, more revenue per sale, so higher ticket, and more repeat orders. So let's put some numbers to this and talk about how this works. Now, like I said, most people spend all their time trying to get more clients. And you may have heard the statistics. It costs anywhere from 4 to as much as 20 or even 30 times to acquire a new client than it does to keep an existing client happy and buying from you. So I'm going to plug some numbers in here, but this formula works regardless of what the numbers are. So if we had 200 clients, these could be any numbers, and $500 average order, and they ordered twice a year, that's a $200,000 a year business. And like I said, most businesses spend all their time and effort working on getting more clients. Now, what would happen, and I want you to see this, when we work on all 3 at once? Now, remember, this is a formula, so you can put your numbers in any one of these boxes and get whatever you're currently doing, all right? The numbers work no matter what business you're in. So what I want to do is I want to show you what just a 10% increase in each area looks like. All right. So we went from 200 to 220, 500 to 550, 2 to 2.2. All right. 10% increase in each one of the 3 areas. And I end up with $266,200. That is a 33% increase. Can you see the power of working on each of the 3 areas? I mean, isn't that exciting? How would it affect your business if you had a 33% increase? Okay, and I know I told you I'd show you how to double in 12 months or less. So we're gonna take this to the next level. If instead of 10%, we put our thinking caps on and we figure out how to get a 33% growth, so that we've got 266 clients, the average order is now 665, and we get them to do it 2.66 times a year, what do you think it's going to be? Well, it goes to a whopping $470,527. That is a 135% increase. 135%. What difference would a 135% increase mean for you? How will you apply this to your business? So remember, there's 3 parts of the formula. So let's drill down on how you would get more clients. So there's a lot of things you can do. This is not, again, it's not an exhaustive list. It doesn't everything. In the interest of time, I'm just going to go quickly over this. In the actual program that I lead, I go much deeper into all of this, but that's okay. I want you to get the big picture here. To increase your lead generation, you need to have an ideal client profile. The reason that matters is because when I have an ideal client profile and I know exactly who I'm targeting, that's when I can figure out their specific hot buttons. And some businesses have multiple ideal client profiles. You know, a friend of mine has a product that they sell not only to farmers for their cattle, but they also sell it to people that own RVs. Well, they're both different and they both have different needs and they have different hot buttons. So you create what's called a client avatar for each one separately. And an avatar is really just you name it, and you just, what are the personality traits of everything in this client? So that's ideal client profile. A formalized referral system. All these are ways to increase your lead generation. Try getting leads at break even for the initial sale and then make a profit on the back end. Remember, you want to acquire clients. You want to capture market share. And if you can, anytime you can bring a client in at break even where you have an opportunity to make money on the back end, that's a no-brainer. So that, but anyway, so you need to know what it costs to bring in a client. Guarantee your purchase, lower that risk. So the risk reversal's a guarantee, a strong guarantee. And advertising done correctly is a way to bring in more clients. Direct mail, telemarketing, we already talked about some of this. Do special events or education nights. Hold an informative webinar, so that people can learn about what you do. Buy qualified leads. A good resource for that is the SRDS. It's the standard rate and data sheet. Go to your library and just ask them about it, the SRDS. Every single list possible is usually in there. Develop a unique selling proposition. Differentiate yourself in the marketplace. What makes you the best choice? And increase the perceived value of your product. And a lot of that is actually done by educating your clients. Use press releases. PR campaigns work, and you can do it for free or you can pay services, and then the free report that you saw that I recommended in ads, it works. You capture the 70%. So that's just some of the stuff you can do. Increase client retention. The longer I keep my clients, the more clients I have. So clients, kind of think about your client pool as a bucket with a hole in it. And, so the hole, if I plug that hole up, I can hold more clients. If I don't, well, obviously, however fast I put in, if I lose 10 clients a month, I have to bring 10 clients a month in to break even. If I change that to where I'm only losing 5 clients, well, now I'm gaining 5 clients every single month. You see, so increase your client retention. And part of that's by delivering higher than expected levels of service. If I go in for an oil change and I get my car back washed and vacuumed, that's a higher level of service. So I'm going to keep going back. Do I care if it costs me $10 more? No. Communicate, build that relationship, nurture them, and get to know who they are and their specific needs. Most companies don't do this. This is the stuff that helps you stay in business and have raving fans that love to refer you. The other way to get more clients is to get better at converting sales. So you want to train your sales staff, help their skill levels improve, get clients at break even. Like I said, strong guarantee for risk reversal, advertising, hire salespeople. One of the ways I've been so successful at doubling businesses in short periods of time, many times, is by hiring salespeople. You either double, triple, or quadruple the sales team. So those are all things. And a lot of people get scared at the idea of hiring a salesperson because they may not have the money or they don't think they have the money. There's all kinds of people out there that will work for straight commission. You just need to put together something that makes a lot of sense. And I'll give you an example. One of the products that a company that I helped, that I consulted with, we needed to charge a fee to offset the cost of establishing the account and be able to pay the salesperson. So, they called it a setup fee. Nobody likes to be set up. So we changed it to activation fee. All by itself began to make a difference. But that activation fee, we gave half of that to the salesperson. The other half covered our cost. And every once in a while, as an incentive, and it was random. I mean, it would just be very, very random. Twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month, the salesperson got 100% of the setup fees, the activation fees for that day. And so that was very, very successful in not only boosting sales, but giving us a way to pay the salespeople more money up front so that they were, excited. And so it makes a difference. There's just different things you can think of. So we have 3 things that we're working on. We want to get more clients. Now we want to work on getting more revenue per sale. So again, teaching your team better selling techniques so that they learn how to upsell and cross-sell. And we talked a little bit about what those are. That training is critical. Point of sale promotions, they're not just for retail checkout. You're at the grocery store, you got all that stuff there, gum, candy. They know what to put there. I mean, the kids see the candy they wanted. You can do this with any business. So if I'm a body shop, when the person's checking out, I could have a pre-made kit. Maybe it's a $99 kit that has everything they need to really take care of their car. A bucket, the right kind of sponge, maybe a clay bar, whatever. There's different stuff that you can include in there. And, say, hey, listen, we have this. Normally, if you went out and bought all this stuff yourself, it'd be $159, and we've got it for $99. Would you like me to include that in your order? Boom, done. 40% of them will say yes. It doesn't sound like much, but if you have a 50% profit margin, which would be common, your gross profits, you just added $45 for every single client to your bottom line. If you service 1,000 clients over the course of a year, which is not a really high number, but if you did, that's $45,000 in gross profits you didn't even have before. So point of sale promotions. Package complementary products and services together. What can you do to make the order bigger? Increase your pricing. It's common sense. If you charge more, you have higher margin. Very few clients that I work with are in a position where they can't raise their prices. And if you are in that position because of market pressures, this is where it comes back to figuring out your ideal client, how to upscale your product, and differentiate yourself in the marketplace. So when I really work on my unique selling proposition, I understand my client's buying decision process and their hot buttons and their specific needs, and I market directly to that. That's when the client, the prospect, actually says to themselves, they think, I'd be an absolute idiot to do business with anybody but these people, regardless of price. So you can increase your price. Sometimes you just have to look at how you bundle yourself and brand yourself to make that happen. And obviously, as soon as you do, you get much higher margins. So like I was saying, profile, up market yourself. If I am a general repair mechanic and I just work on anybody's car, but then I decide that, I'm going to make the change and I'm going to up market so that I'm now working on imports only, which tends to be the Mercedes-Benz, the Jaguars, the BMWs. And I'm in an area where there isn't a dealer. Well, now I've upped my market. Trust me, having owned Beamers, that $500 tune-up is 4 times as expensive as a tune-up on any domestic car. You know what I mean? So you can up market. It's not that hard, and you can do it in any industry. Bigger units of purchase. How can I, incentivize buying for size? I mean, look at Costco. Excuse me. They don't have the slightest idea how to sell single items. They sell everything in truckloads. So great example of larger units of purchase. So we've covered the first 2, get more clients, more revenue per sale. Now we want to get more repeat orders. So this is where you want to have a back-end product or services so you can get your clients to buy from you again. And you also want to communicate personally. Again, maintain that positive relationship. It can be done many ways: phone, letter, email, social media. Some of it can be automated. I wouldn't automate all of it. Personal touch is tremendous. And, so the more you have that relationship, the more they buy from you. You can turn around and endorse other people's products. We talked a little bit about joint venture. Quality product, something that your clients are going to like, but as soon as you do, you get a fee for that. And all it took was your endorsement. So it's a great way to bring in revenue. And do special events, VIP sales, closed door sales, limited release, things like that. Your clients want to know that you care about them and they want to feel special. And believe me, clients love things like closed door sales, VIP, things like that. So we've talked about a lot, the fact that, different ways to get more clients, get more revenue per sale, get more repeat orders. We talked about how the foundation of your business needs to have more than a couple of legs. And so my question for you, of course, we can do price inducements for frequency. My question for you is, how high will you go? How much do you want to make in your business? What's it currently making? What's that gap? And another thing I want to talk about is another simple mind shift. A lot of people get stuck on response rate when we're talking about direct mail and things like that. It's typical direct mail campaign. People tell you get a 2% response rate. So if you sent out 5,000 pieces, you get 100 responses. It's just 5,000 times 0.02. It's 100. Is that good or bad? If you put some numbers to it, 5,000 mailers with postage might run you around $7,500. Could be a little more, could be less, depends on the complexity of the mailer. You have 100 responses. That means they were $75 of response. Now, if you're selling a $100 widget, that's kind of tough to make work. That you're probably losing $25 on every one of those. But if your service is something that's $2,500 or $5,000 or $15,000 or $25,000, or you're talking about building a house, getting somebody to invest $150,000 or $200,000 or $1,000 or more with you, or $400,000 or $500,000 to build this house. If it's something that has a high profit margin and you only got 10 new clients, that'd be anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000 in revenue. Would you invest $7,500 if you have good gross profit margins to bring in $50,000 to $250,000? I would. Who wouldn't? But a lot of people get hung up on, well, I'm not going to do direct mail. It only gets me a 1% response rate. I tried that before. I got 1.5%. The question is, did it make you money? I don't care how many people responded. I care how many people took action and actually bought. So that's the ultimate question to ask, and that's what you want to measure everything about. It's your return on investment, not the response rate, that matters. So just food for thought. I appreciate your time today. I hope this has been very helpful for you. I know I've provided information that can genuinely take your business to the next level. And I'm on a mission. I want to help 1,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs regain control of their lives. Look, I know what it's like. I've run small businesses. I've started several. The bottom line is, when you're wearing all the hats, it's really, really easy to get so busy that you stop having time for family or things that are the very things that you wanted to be doing. And that's why you went into business for yourself. Many small business owners will tell me that they actually make less money than they did when they had a job. And there's a reason for that. And it's not understanding the marketing and all the things. So I want to help them build better businesses. I want to help you have the income you've always thought was possible, so you can enjoy the freedom and lifestyle that you richly deserve. I want to help 1,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs get there. And that's not a small number. And part of why I want to do it is because I know it makes a huge difference for this country. Of all jobs are created by small business owners and entrepreneurs. It's the single greatest way to make a positive impact in our economy. And let's face it, our economy needs help. And it needs more small business owners and entrepreneurs being wildly successful. And when I say wildly successful, I mean making the kind of money you make and being able to take the kind of time off you want to take off. Your business should be able to run so that if you take a month off, it continues to grow and thrive, even though you're not there. And those are all things that are possible. So we covered why you're stuck and experiencing that feast or famine cycle in your business. Or maybe you're just not hitting your revenue goals. That's whole part of that plate spinning thing in your pipeline. I covered how to break that feast or famine cycle once and for all, and that's by executing a formal marketing plan. You can have 135% growth with just a 33% improvement in each of the three areas. And if you bring in more profit centers to your marketing, your business, it will know no bounds to how big it can grow. I hope you understand the critical shift in thinking I was talking about. You're the CEO. You're the captain of your ship, and I want you to think differently about marketing ROI versus rate of return. And I hope you see how you can have that your own business growth explosion and double your business in the next 12 months or less. And just as importantly, do it again and again. See, your business is your business, and you can have it for as long as you like, and and grow. So imagine what your business life would be like if you no longer struggled to get clients, if you automated processes so they came in without your direct action. What would it make? What kind of difference would it make if your business literally doubled in 12 months or less, and then you did it again? What would you do if you had more free time? Would you like help? What if there was a program that walked you step by step through each area of building your business? And what if you had help along the way so you didn't get stuck? And what if there was accountability so you got more done? John Assaraf, CEO and founder of One Coach, but he's also built over 5 multi-million-dollar companies, and 2 of them were billion-dollar companies. That's billion with a B. John says Mike understands sales and human nature as well as anyone out there. He's a great asset to everyone who he comes in contact with, and I highly recommend him, especially if you need any sales management training or consulting. You see, as part of my mission, I took the time, and I've been doing this now for almost 30 years. I took the time to really understand what I learned by analyzing 700 businesses, what I learned with the hundreds and hundreds of business owners that I've gotten to work with over the past couple of decades, and the businesses I built and failed at. I actually had one business I started that just we raised. We knew we needed $750,000 to launch the business, and we thought we had a deep pocket angel investor with that kind of money, and we put 450 up with the other 3 available. Well, it was back in 09 and 08 actually is when we started it, and we were fine, but however, just like everything, we were 90 days behind our projections and our schedule and cash flow, and the investor, who thought he was liquid for a lot more money than he was going to refinance some commercial property. And when he went to do that, that's when he found out his commercial property was worth about a half of what he thought it was. And he pulled the plug. Now, we were hitting our milestones, but we were 90 days behind our milestones. And it was from technical issues. We were selling a software product that ended up, we thought it was done when we launched. And when we tried to deliver it, it really actually wasn't. And, and so it wasn't usable. So we lost time there. And then we had technical difficulties and challenges. So we got a late start. And meanwhile, we were burning up cash. Well, that was heartbreaking because this was a great business. It was a great product. It's the kind of thing that would really benefit people. And it was just a horrible failure. And the thing I learned from that is you don't launch a business until you've got your financing secured. And the problem, part of what the challenge was there, is that we didn't find out until the very, very last minute that he was going to pull the plug. And that didn't give us time to go secure any other kind of funding, because had we even had 2 months, we could have found somebody else that would have put up, a bridge loan for the difference. Because when I say we were 90 days behind our schedule, well, we were about another 90 days away from actually hitting cash flow break even if we continued to hit the projections. And we would have. It's the kind of business that we would have. So anyway, so I've been there. I've been through failures. I've been through tremendous successes. I really do know what the complexities and issues are. And I took all of that, everything I've learned, and I've personally invested hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money learning this stuff and many years. And I put together the Business Growth Explosion. And what it really is it's a step-by-step process over 12 months to take you through everything you need to know and learn and do to double your business or more in those 12 months or less. And so there's 5 components to the Business Growth Explosion. First is automated client attraction and multiplication. You've got to bring clients in and need to get more clients. There's no way around that. So we're going to walk through ideal client profile, their specific buyer's decision-making process, how to create a unique selling proposition, what's your client lifetime value, critical thing to know and differentiate, because if you don't know what they are worth to you, you really don't know what you can invest to go get them. A revenue plan and gap analysis. I talked a little bit about that early on. And marketing and communication. How do you build an ad that just knocks it out of the park? And, and then sales mastery. I was paid $50,000 to implement the healthy selling system and as a consultant in one of my clients' businesses. I mean, this component alone is worth everything I would ever ask for the Business Growth Explosion. And so sales mastery is part of this program. The second component, and there's a lot more in it. We'd be here for a long time. The second component is group coaching. I walk you through each of the elements twice a month, and then there's a Q&A. And so you're going to understand exactly how to implement and what to do with the client attraction and multiplication. You can ask specific questions to your business and your situation. It's critical to be able to do that so that you don't get stuck. And then the third thing is the coaching call archive. Every training session is going to be archived. So you have access to that 24/7. And then the fourth thing is email questions. You can email a question anytime you want. And if I don't answer it immediately, it'll get answered on a coaching call or posted into the area that we have so you can see the answers. And, now if you want them private, obviously they wouldn't get posted. The fifth area is a special exclusive Facebook secret group. The great thing about this is it's a members only group. So you've got like-minded business owners. You can get feedback in a safe environment, and you can build relationships that could easily lead to joint ventures. And, the thing is, when somebody from a different industry sees what you're doing and they make a suggestion, there's a wonderful way to really get an outside view to help your business grow. And you're going to make new friends. So that's the 5 components. Reality is the automated client attraction and multiplication. I put it's $5,000 value. Like I said, I was paid $50,000 to implement healthy selling. It's certainly worth $5,000. Group coaching, you can't do group coaching anywhere for less than $500 a month. Some places it's literally 10 grand or more a year. I know clients that, I know other coaches that charge a whole lot more. It's $6,000 value. Coaching call archive, easily worth $1,000. Email questions. Buddy of mine is a consultant. His email question service starts at $2,500 a month. So easily worth $1,000 for the year. The secret group, $1,000 value. This is at least $14,000 worth of business building success materials. But I'm not going to ask you to make that particular investment. It's, this is Rick Lugash. He's the co-founder of Optimal Wellness Labs. I worked with one of his franchisees. Anyway, our franchisee had no history of any sales skills, and what Mike helped this gentleman produce was beyond my expectation. Over a series of coaching calls, Mike equipped this gentleman with a sales tool belt that enabled him to double his sales in 1 month. Yes, he doubled his performance in 1 month's time. And no, he didn't go from a single sale to 2. It was much higher than that. Anyway, Mike's education-based selling approach not only taught us how to develop a personal belief system that was in alignment with what we were offering the marketplace, but taught us how to deliver our value proposition in a compelling and concise way. Dramatic growth in their company. I've done this a few times. Anyway, what's it worth? I asked you earlier on how much you wanted your business to be making. I also asked you to write down what it's making now and the difference or the gap. Well, that gap is what it's costing you every year you don't make a change. How much is that? The Business Growth Explosion Program, which is a 12-month long program that will help you double your business in that 12 months or less. To join today, it's $7,500. However, I'm doing a special marketing test. I have great news for you. I really want to make a big impact in 1,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs. And I know price sometimes can hold people back. So if you sign up today, it's not $7,500. It's not even $5,000. It's $2,970. That's less than half. Over the course of a year, that's just $8.14 a day. I mean, that's about what an average lunch runs these days. Can you think of a better way to spend $8, a dime, and 4 pennies? I didn't think so. And I understand small business. I understand cash flow. So you do have a choice. You could do 12 installments at $297 per month. Or you can save money and just do the single pay. But here's the thing. I want to make sure that you knock it out of the park. Remember earlier I was talking about online and how important being mobile friendly and SEO and all that good stuff is? Well, most small businesses, I mean, you're running your business. The last thing you need is one more thing to take care of. So to cover that, I've put together my online market domination package. Now, it includes, and this is included in the Business Growth Explosion, it includes a custom website. Now, we start from a template, but it's a beautiful website. It includes your website hosting, SEO, mobile site optimization, so it'll be mobile friendly. We'll set up Google Analytics on it, and we also do a local and mobile paid ad campaign. That's worth somewhere between $1,700 and $7,713 easily. I don't stop there. You're going to get local marketing. That way you're going to be found on Google, Bing, and Yahoo and all the other advanced local citations. We'll actually set up pre-existing citation checks, make sure what's out there before we get carried away. We'll hook you up with all the major syndication providers. You will be on hundreds and hundreds of sites. That's the syndication database site list. And we also do ongoing review and reputation monitoring. It's critical to know what people are saying about you. And then from there, we do the social. And so social, is the Facebook, all the major social sites. We'll set each one of those up with your branding so that it looks good and uniform and inviting. We'll create a blog for you, and then we do monthly posts. We also do Facebook and blog marketing, which are original written posts. We do video posting on your profiles where allowed. We create viral and content. We do viral and content marketing for you. Obviously, that's the big rage these days. Blog optimization. That's easily all by itself worth over $7,500, and we're not done because part of being online is video. So we do video creation and marketing for you. It includes 30-second montage videos, professional voiceover and script writing. We'll create a dedicated YouTube channel for you. We do advanced video distribution, so your videos are out there on all the best sites. These are huge, by the way, for people being able to find you. Video, a lot of people don't understand this, but YouTube is the third most highest searched search engine out there. You've got, Facebook, it gets the third most traffic. You got Facebook, Google, and YouTube. They compete with each other for who gets the most traffic. Video optimization and marketing, and that package is worth over $6,000 by itself. If you added all of it up, the custom website, the local marketing, the social media setup and everything, the video marketing, all of that together is worth between $16,000 and $22,873. And you can go out. Those prices I put on, that's because if you do the research, you'll go find who can do that. And those are the prices because they break them out. We're able to bundle this together because I own BGE Marketing. And we are the company that other companies come to get all of this stuff done. We have 50 employees in 3 different countries and 2 offices here in the United States. And so I can include this in the business growth explosion. So you knock out the online. It's just something you don't even have to worry about. It gets done for you. And you get all of the other elements so that you know how to take your business to the next level. Remember when we talked about growing your business? A 33% increase. Here I've got different numbers with just 100, 1,000, and 2. But 33% increase is 135% increase overall if you do it in each of the 3 areas. But you don't need to make the final decision today. Look, I'm so confident this is life-changing and business-changing for you. Sign up right now. Try out the Business Growth Explosion today. Take a full 30 days. If for any reason you're not 100% delighted, if you don't get 100% clear on exactly what you need to do to massively grow your business, if you don't enjoy regaining your freedom so you're never overwhelmed, and if you don't agree that you finally have full control and can dominate your marketplace, then simply drop me an email and I'll give you a rapid, no hassle, no questions asked, 100% refund. You're standing at the crossroads. Of the 2 roads before you, the one on the left is the road you've been traveling. It's rough, uphill, rocky, full of pain and toil. On the right, the road less traveled, it's smooth, paved, and proven to be the easiest way to grow your business, regain your freedom, and enjoy the profits and lifestyle you so richly deserve. Choose the right road. Let's walk that road together. 1 year from today, you will certainly arrive. The real question is where? If you want to be somewhere different than where you are now, you'll have to do something different than what you're currently doing. Take the first step toward a different future and order today. Frankly, only one of these choices makes any sense at all. Please, for your own sake, join me in creating your business growth explosion today. I want to help you set the processes and procedures in place so your business runs smoothly and predictably for the rest of your life, or as long as you want to own it. You'll have a life filled with business growth, freedom, peace, and profits, and a bright outlook. It's time to accept this risk-free investment in you and your family's future, and join me now. Here's how to order. Go to mdmcmahon.com/special. Once you're on that page, decide which option is best for you, either the single pay or the 12 installments, and then click the Buy Now button under your choice. You can use your credit card or pay with PayPal. It's fast, it's safe, it's 100% secure. In fact, it's 10 times more secure than using a credit card at your favorite restaurant. And as a thank you for staying, I have a special bonus. I told you I was going to give you a sheet, a resource that would help you know whether or not your advertising was going to work for you before you even spent a dime. Excuse me. This is my marketing grade sheet, and you'll see that it actually covers the formula, interrupt, engage, educate, offer. It'll show you in each area exactly what results you're going to get and what you need to fix to make it especially effective. So you can pick that up by going to mdmcmahon.com/bonus-page. Again, that's mdmcmahon.com/bonus-page. So thank you so much for your time. It is the one asset that makes all of us equal. I appreciate you investing it with me today. So to double your business, join Business Growth Explosion. mdmcmahon.com/special. And you can get your grading worksheet at mdmcmahon/bonus-page. Thank you again for your time. I hope this was enlightening. I appreciate you, and I wish you all the success.